Ashe connects us to anything related to our destiny, right? So you're going to meet certain people. You have met certain people throughout your life who are, you're specifically ordained to meet. You were specifically ordained to meet before you came into the earth, right? Because you're supposed to have certain experiences with these individuals. So their Ashe is also connecting you all. Any food that you eat, you're connecting yourself to the Ashe of that plant or that animal or what have you. That's that energetic force, that interconnectivity, right? So we can look at this from the perspective of the notion of entanglement, right? When it comes to the scientific perspective, quantum entanglement, we can look at this from the perspective of like an ancestral ritual, right? So if you perform an ancestral ritual for your bloodline, that energy is going to connect to the entire bloodline, not just you. If you're working with the goon, that's the ancestral force, not just one single, your dad's spirit, your mom's spirit, or something like that, but the entire bloodline, the entire ancestral forces or entity, then everybody is impacted by that, right? It's not necessarily the same thing as quantum entanglement because that relates, number one, to particles. But herein, we can kind of think of it in a similar way. It's not the exact same thing, right? Because it's not necessarily an equal opposite reaction. Instead, that energy flows through the entire bloodline, bringing forth healing and restoration and renewal and things like that, all right? It touches both individuals who are still alive in the earth, and it also touches our ancestral forces to help them to heal, to help them to elevate, just like it's helping us to heal and elevate. So this is why we do it. It's a form of reciprocity. Right? Any ritual that you do, but especially when you're taking care of your ancestors, we're helping each other out on both sides. You help them, they help you. You're giving them life force to come down and get closer to you, and you're healing your bloodline every time you engage in these types of ritual work, right? Ancestral elevation work. And again, it's not just for you. It can impact anybody, okay? And so, and you don't get to pick and choose. It's not like, well, I wanted to help my sister, but I don't want it to help my brother because I don't like him or what have you, right? It's going to impact the entire bloodline, which is actually a good thing. And it might bring some healing to even those dynamics if there is some contention there for whatever reason. And even for the difference is that, our Ashe is going to carry specific intention and purpose. It's not random. It's not disconnected. It's not just this unbiased energy field. Instead, it is a divine, very divine force. It's the divine essence of Olodumare, and it serves a very prominent and important purpose within our own destinies, within our bloodline, and within universal order holistically. Another question is, how does destiny in Ifa compare with the scientific theory that every choice creates a new reality? So when we're looking at that theory, science says, right, that whenever a decision is made or what have you, or a quantum event occurs, that the universe splits into multiple versions of itself, right? So let's say you're traveling down the road and you get to a stop sign, for instance, and you decide to make a left. Well, you had the option to go right. You had the option to go straight at that point. But when you made that left, you made a specific decision that is going to affect everything thereafter. What science teaches that in the universe, the option for you to make the right and for you to go straight at that stop sign still exists, right? And even though you made that left, the reality or the existence of those other options are still there, and they're still happening at the very time that you made that left. So those options are not negated or just gone just because you chose to make a left instead of a right or go straight or what have you, right? And science indicates that, you experience that one version, but another version in another version of reality, rather, that opposite occurs. And I don't know if it's like a doppelganger or another version of yourself or what have you, based on scientific theory, that those other aspects are happening, or is it just another being holistically that those scenarios are still occurring with? That part I'm not quite sure on. So if anybody is familiar with this theory, you can express that as well, right? So this is how they explain that, things can exist at multiple places at one time and still have their interconnectedness. All right. So instead of them saying that, that one option disappears, the theory basically holds that all options continue, each in its own branch of reality. So they continue to occur. In the tradition, however, Ifa teaches rather, that each person chooses their destiny before they come into the earth, right? Every choice that we make, because we have free will, every single choice that we make determines how our destiny manifests. So if you made that left instead of a right or going straight, certain things are going to happen, whether it was part of your destined path or not for you to make that left. You just enacted a certain set of motion that can change the trajectory of your life for good or bad, right? I mean, I won't necessarily say it will be indifferent, because it won't be indifferent. It's going to either benefit you or not benefit you in some way, right? Even if it's just, hey, you took the left and you got to the destination that you were trying to go to without having an accident or something like that. It still served a beneficial purpose. It served an intentional purpose for you, right? So within your destined path, all expressions are possible, right? Even though we talk about destiny all the time in Ifa, because that's what Ifa divination is all about. It's about your destined path. When you get an Ifa reading, the Odu that comes forth, everything that you get back is revealing something about your destiny. It could tell you, like where you're supposed to be and what you were meant to do. Now, this is not, when you get a regular Ifa reading, this is not Ifa initiation where you getting your personal Odu. Instead, it's the Odu that applies to your situation or circumstances at that given point in time, right? So you may get information about, what you were meant to do when you came into this life, what you should be doing now, what you should avoid, things that you should be engaging in order to perpetuate your destiny, etc., etc. Warnings, taboos, so many different things can come out of an Ifa reading. As I'm talking like a million things, because I see readings all the time. So a million different scenarios are just popping up as I speak about this, because I'm seeing so many different, thresholds that people encounter on a daily basis, or on just a regular basis, or what have you. So yes, but Ifa doesn't teach that opposite destinies exist in separate dimensions. So it's not like in Ifa you make that left, and so now there's another part of you that made that right, and they're experiencing a different destiny than you are experiencing. Instead, it says that all potential outcomes already exist within the same divine order, right? You don't have like this other version of you living elsewhere in the universe where they're going to experience this completely opposite life as you.